Welcome to Part 1 of Preparing for an Administrative Review for School Nutrition Programs. During this training, we will discuss the general overview of the administrative review process and more in-depth information about the Access and Reimbursement section to assist sponsors in being successful. The passage of the Healthy Hunger-Free Kids Act of 2010 resulted in significant changes in the National School Lunch and School Breakfast programs. The Healthy Hunger-Free Kids Act included many program revisions, including the mandate for USDA to develop a unified monitoring process. The administrative review process occurs on a 3-year review cycle and incorporates both off-site and on-site activities. The administrative review process ensures program integrity and compliance with federal law and regulations in the operation of the National School Lunch and School Breakfast programs. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone of a few key points. These are terms used throughout the presentation. Sponsor, that's you, is the word we use for any organization that is operating or sponsoring a federal nutrition program. This could be a public school district, a private school, a charter school, or a residential child care institution. You are all sponsors. ODE-CNP, that's us, is the Oregon Department of Education Child Nutrition Programs. We are here to help support you in your work of providing nutritious meals to students you serve. We recognize that the legislation, regulations, guidance manuals, memos, and forms that USDA and ODE-CNP provide for you can sometimes be challenging to understand. We are here to help you navigate our webpage, find a form, understand a regulation, or answer questions to help you do your work. Please don't ever hesitate to ask questions of your specialist. The sponsor specialist list for the state is posted on our webpage. Or each sponsor can find their assigned specialist in CNP Web on the Packet tab heading. The administrative review process has been organized into 5 monitoring sections: Access and Reimbursement, Nutritional Quality and Meal Pattern, Resource Management, General Program Compliance, and other federal programs. Within each monitoring section, there are several modules, each of which addresses a specific review area. For each module, there are both off-site and on-site activities that occur before, during, and after the assigned specialist is on-site. This process allows for the most efficient collection, submittal, and analysis of data and information for a given review area. The sections of the administrative review training are divided into 3 parts. Section 1 is covered in this training. Sections 2 and 3 are covered in Part 2 of the training series, and Sections 4 and 5 are covered in Part 3. The administrative review uses a multi-step process to determine the sponsor's level of compliance with federal and state regulations. The review begins with an off-site assessment tool. The off-site assessment is completed in advance of the on-site portion of the administrative review. The off-site tool is emailed directly to the CNP Program Manager as listed in CNP Web. You can view the off-site tool at any time on the ODE-CNP Administrative Review webpage. The off-site assessment tool provides ODE-CNP specialists with baseline information about a sponsor's current practices. The information collected during the off-site assessment will be validated by the specialist on-site based on staff interviews and specialist observations. Here's a general timeline for the administrative review. It is very important that you follow the deadlines and complete all necessary documents requested by ODE-CNP. As you can see in Step 1, sponsors scheduled for a review in the current school year receive notice by the end of August. The notice is sent to all contacts listed in CNP Web. This notification includes the off-site tool with questions about each of the monitoring sections. Step 2, the sponsor receives notification of the on-site review dates and sites to be reviewed, along with the dates for month of review and week of review. In Step 3, the Offsite tool is completed by the sponsor and sent back to ODE by the due date listed in the Administrative Review notification. The Offsite tool is returned electronically. Roughly 6 weeks before the on-site visit, an email request will be sent to the sponsor to request meal pattern and benefit issuance documents. The information provided by the sponsor will be reviewed, and the reviewing specialist will touch base with the sponsor to ensure that any questions are answered prior to the on-site. Steps 5 and 6, the ODE C&P specialist will arrive on the scheduled day for the on-site visit and conduct an entrance conference. During this time, the specialist will discuss the off-site assessment along with the on-site review process, answering any questions that the sponsor may have about the process. After all on-site activities are concluded, the exit conference will be conducted. During the exit conference, the ODE C&P specialist will address review findings, corrective action plans and timelines, any potential fiscal action, and the appeal process. The document of Administrative Review Findings report will be left on-site or sent to the sponsor within 30 days of the exit conference. In Step 9, corrective action is completed by the sponsor and is submitted to the ODE specialist by an agreed-upon deadline. And either corrective action is accepted and approved by the ODE specialist and the Administrative Review is closed, or corrective action is not accepted and further collaboration is needed between the sponsor and the ODE C&P specialist to bring the program operations into compliance. Once additional corrective action is accepted and approved by the ODE specialist, the Administrative Review is closed. Often we receive questions as to how review sites are selected. Site selection is based on a process that takes into account multiple areas. Some of these areas include the variety of programs offered, such as school breakfast, national school lunch, after-school snack, and fresh fruit and vegetable programs, the provisions offered, such as CEP and Provision 2, meal participation percentages and patterns, and past review findings. The number of sites selected is based on the size of the sponsor. As shown in this table, if an organization operates anywhere from 1 to 5 sites, then one site will be selected for an on-site review, including meal service and counting and claiming observations. The more sites an organization operates, the more sites are selected for on-site reviews. Beginning last school year, USDA implemented 2 new site selection procedures. The first pertains to larger organizations that operate at least 11 sites. As you can see in Table 1, a minimum of 1 or more sites reviewed will be unannounced. This helps to ensure the specialist conducting the review is fully assessing program compliance without any modifications made to the site's operations that can result from advance notification of a review. The second pertains to organizations with an independent governing board. These organizations will automatically be selected for review. An example of this would be a program that is providing food services to all schools within a district and also to a charter school with a separate governing board. In this case, a minimum of 2 sites will be selected for review, 1 site from the school district and the charter school. Also implemented last year, ODE C&P was given the responsibility to ensure that information regarding the administrative review is made easily accessible to the public. To enhance program integrity and transparency, ODE C&P will post a summary of the document of administrative review findings for each sponsor on the publicly available website. The complete and final document of administrative review findings may be made available to the public upon request. To ensure that sponsors have a better understanding of documents required and procedures reviewed, the Administrative Review Checklist was sent with the Notification Review Confirmation Letter. The checklist is a tool that sponsors may use to assist them in preparing for the administrative review. You may find a link to the checklist on the ODE Administrative Review page. The checklist details areas that will be reviewed and lists documents that sponsors may need to provide to the specialist, either off-site, before the review, or during the on-site portion of the review. Operation checks are incorporated into some areas of the checklist. These are optional self-checks that the sponsor may complete to assess compliance at their sites. The operation checks listed will also be observed by the specialist while on-site as part of the review process. For example, the specialist will observe breakfast and lunch meals and will specifically focus on how the point of service or meal counting and claiming procedures take place at the site being reviewed. With that background, let's get started. As mentioned, the administrative review process has 5 monitoring sections. We'll begin by focusing on the Access and Reimbursement section of the review structure. The purpose of this section of the review is to ensure that only eligible students are counted for reimbursable meals served, meaning 1 of each meal or snack per eligible student per day, that the students are counted by eligibility category, free, reduced price, and paid, they're counted daily, and that they're counted without overtly identifying a student's eligibility. For the purposes of the administrative review, access means the determination of students' benefits from receiving documentation, issuing benefits, notifying households, and using the information at the point of service. This is called the certification process. Reimbursement means counting and claiming meals by free, reduced price, or paid categories. Access, or the certification process, includes benefit issuance, which starts with determining eligibility. Eligibility determination may occur through direct certification, other categorical eligibility, or income application. Review of the certification process is meant to ensure that the sponsor's system for issuing benefits is timely, up-to-date, accurate, and that students are in the correct benefit category at the point of service. Verification is reviewed due to its role in ensuring that benefits are issued to eligible students. Meal counting and claiming is reviewed to ensure that only one type of meal, breakfast, lunch, and/or snack, per student per category is counted and to ensure that claims for reimbursement are valid. The Offsite Assessment Tool for Access and Reimbursement evaluates the sponsor's processes for reviewing eligibility determinations, certifications, verification, and updating applications. Answers provided on the tool may make the specialist aware of potential areas of noncompliance. These areas will be more closely reviewed and potentially corrected with technical assistance or corrective action. During the on-site review, specialists will verify that the sponsor's system is working to provide an accurate certification process resulting in correct benefit issuance, an accurate counting and claiming system, and an accurate verification process. Eligibility determinations are made from household applications for income, household applications for categorically eligible students, which includes SNAP, TANF, and FDPIR, direct certification, foster children documentation or applications, homeless runaway lists, migrant lists, and even and Head Start lists. The complete list of eligible students is called the Benefit Issuance Document. Benefit issuance is the link between the sponsor's certification process, when free or reduced price benefits are determined, and the sponsor's meal counting and claiming system. When a student's benefits are used at the point of service to count and claim meals, the system must be accurate. As mentioned, sponsors will send their benefit issuance documents to ODE prior to the on-site portion of the review. The benefit issuance document sent must be an Excel list for all of the sponsor's standard counting and claiming sites, not just the review sites. The requirements for the Excel spreadsheet are that it includes only free and reduced eligible students, that no paid or denied students are included, and that there are no duplicates. Here's an example of a benefits issuance document. Required information includes the student's name, the school name, the benefit status or category, the certification method, i.e. direct certification extended for siblings, income applications, categorical applications, etc., the approval date, and an indication of students who were selected for verification. Sponsors must send the benefit issuance document via secure file transfer to the email listed on the screen. The benefit issuance document information is confidential and cannot be faxed or emailed. The ODE C&P Administrative Review webpage has instructions on how to use this web application. After the benefit issuance document is submitted, the assigned specialist will randomly select a sample of student certifications for review and will notify you as to which students have been selected. Sponsors will need to prepare the appropriate documentation for the on-site review by locating and organizing the applications, direct certifications, and other supporting documentation for the free or reduced eligibility of students selected for review. This documentation must be prepared and available for the specialist to review at the beginning of the first day of the on-site review. As a reminder, do not fax or email this confidential information. During the on-site review, assigned specialists will validate the sponsor's processes and procedures as indicated in the off-site assessment tool by looking at the student's certification and eligibility, the benefit issuance at the point of service, and reviewing some denied applications and copies of letters sent to these households. Benefit issuance fiscal action is taken for the following errors. Categorical applications are approved with missing or invalid SNAP or TANF case numbers. Income applications are approved with missing information. Miscategorized applications, such as a free certification, should have been reduced. Benefit issuance errors at the point of service, and failure to update the point of service with status changes resulting from verification. In the past, fiscal action for benefit issuance errors has only been calculated for the sites selected for review. The Healthy Hunger-Free Kids Act final rule implementation requires fiscal action for certification and benefit issuance errors to be calculated at all sites, reviewed and non-reviewed. This process change may substantially increase the amount of fiscal action that sponsors may receive. During the on-site visit, all verification documentation must be available. Assigned specialists will validate verification information listed in the off-site assessment tool and test the verification process by evaluating a sample of verified applications. Specialists will use prior year's verification documentation if the current year's is unavailable. The purpose of reviewing meal counting and claiming is to ensure that the sponsor's process is accurate and that meals meet all federal requirements. Assigned specialists will validate claims for breakfast, lunch, and after-school snack programs if the sponsor is participating. They will assure that only one of each meal type, breakfast, lunch, or snack, is claimed per student per day. They'll test the sponsor's system to see if it provides accurate meal counts by category, free, reduced, and paid, yielding accurate reimbursement claims. They will compare the sponsor's C&P web claim for the review month to counts validated by the specialist. And they will review claim consolidation methods at the sponsor level. During the on-site review, the assigned specialist will confirm that the information provided on the off-site assessment tool is correct and accurately reflects their current practice. They will observe meal service, determine if overt identification exists, and determine if the point of service counts are accurate for only reimbursable meals. Specialists may ask point of service cashiers about offer versus serve practices, or how students without proper ID are handled, or even whether there are excessive amounts of meal overrides. Specialists will also review claim consolidation methods at the site level. Meal counting and claiming errors that require fiscal action include that the meal count consolidation was incorrect. These are typically clerical errors. That the meal counts do not equal the number served. Meal counts exceeded the number of eligible free, reduced, or paid students. And second and/or ineligible meals were counted incorrectly for reimbursement. As a reminder, program documentation must be kept for 3 years plus the current operating year. Some common access and reimbursement administrative review findings for benefit issuance are that the sponsor's initial eligibility determination was incorrect, or there was an invalid or missing SNAP or TANF case number. For meal counting and claiming, errors may be clerical errors or claims that differ from those submitted in C&P Web. Common findings for verification include that sponsors are not conducting verification at all, or that they're completing the verification process incorrectly. Thank you for participating and preparing for an Administrative Review Part 1 for the National School Lunch Program. If you have any questions, please contact your assigned child nutrition specialist. We greatly appreciate all the work you do to fuel Oregon's future.